Everyone, it is approximately 4:45 p.m. On August 13th, 2019. We are here for a special meeting of the Springfield Township Board of Trustees for the Brentwood Village resurfacing project. Mr. Burning, may we have the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Honolaw?
Present.
Mr. Burning?
Present.
And Ms. McFarland is not able to be here.
I will turn this over to Mr. Gilbert. Do you have a report for us regarding this equalization hearing?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Hunterlaw. As you're aware, this is roughly, I think, the 13th project that we've done relative to the assessment process, and post completion of the project or any time prior to actually forwarding the assessment amounts to the county auditor, we are required to have an equalization hearing to ensure that the assessments being levied against the property owners that benefit from the road resurfacing find that the assessments are just and equitable. In this particular case, this is the Brentwood Village project, which was Cavalier Drive from Renard to the cul-de-sac and Christopole Drive from Cavalier Drive to Woodview Drive. This hearing is required pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 5573.10. The notice was given in compliance with the Sunshine Law and the requirements of said section of the Revised Code on July 24th, 2019 and July 31st, 2019 in the Northwest Community Press. This project involves the replacement of all the curb, replacing all the catch basins, removal of the existing asphalt, and pavement resurfacing with a 2.5-inch overlay of new blacktop. Actually, this would be the 14th project. I apologize, I said 13th. This is the 14th project and that the township has moved forward with in correspondence with our neighborhood master plan, which outlined the assessment processes as it relates to any new pavement projects. This would be considered a mandatory assessment, and what we mean by that is because the SCIP grant from the state was involved, we do not require a petition process. In fact, a petition process isn't required at all. However, our policy has been when a SCIP project is involved, we do not require the actual petition process. And that was this case in where we just had a mandatory assessment. Those at the public meeting that was held on August 13th, 2018, the majority, if not 100% unanimous, indicated that they were in favor to move ahead with the project, and as a result, the assessment.
Nobody was opposed to the project.
Correct, that we are aware of. There are a total of 41 parcels on the two streets representing the property owners to be assessed. The assessment to each property owner for this project will be $49.06 per year for 10 years, apportioned and paid equally by the property owners abutting the road improvement, as established by ORC 5573.07, subsection A1. On August 14, 2018, the Board of Trustees passed a Resolution 68-2018, which determined the necessity for the road improvement. This essentially is giving us the go-ahead to move forward with the project. The plans and specifications and schedule of assessments were prepared as they were then reviewed and approved by the county engineer, which is required by the Ohio Revised Code. As mentioned, notice was given on the 24th and 31st of July of this year, and we accepted written or in-person objections as a result of those notifications, and I'm here to report that no official objections were received by us, both either in writing, which is required, or even verbally. So we have not received any objections. The purpose of this meeting, again, is to consider the objections to the assessments. The board can change the assessment schedule if necessary, and the equalization hearing is not to determine to do the project. In fact, the project's already undergoing. It's already, in fact, almost complete. This is really to determine whether or not the assessment is just and equitable. The bid opening was December 11th of this year. No, December 11th of 2018. The sheet said 19. So it was awarded by the Board of Trustees at a regular meeting on December 11th as well. So it was the same day of 2018 to Bruce Construction. The next step would be to pass a resolution adopting the estimates and specifications reported by the county engineer for said improvement. So after this hearing and during our regular meeting that we have later this evening, there is a resolution related to this project to move ahead with the assessments and forwarding those to the county auditor. So that does conclude my report for this hearing.
All right. I'd like the record to reflect that there is no one present at the hearing today. And Chris, you did say that there were no formal objections, but actually I think there were no objections, formal or informal, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. With that, do we have a motion to close this meeting?
So moved.
Seconded?
All those are, Mr. Burning,
Aye.
Mr. Honlaw,
Aye.
meeting's closed.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is approximately 5:15 on Tuesday, August 13th, 2019, and we are here for a special meeting of the Springfield Township Board of Trustees. This is a meeting regarding the Glen Forest Road Improvement Project Equalization Hearing. Mr. Burning, may I please have the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Burning,
Present.
Mr. Honlaw,
Present.
Ms. McFarland will not be here.
Mr. Gilbert, I believe you have a report for us regarding this, the topic of this hearing.
I do. Thank you, Mr. Hernalaw. As you've indicated, this is for the Glen Forest Road Improvement Project. This is a project that is near completion at this point, and that project involves Lux Avenue and Beach Ridge Drive. This particular hearing is required by the Ohio Revised Code, Section 5573.10. The purpose of this hearing is to allow property owners subjected to the assessment related to this project to voice any objections regarding whether or not the assessment is just and equitable. In this particular case, notice was given in compliance with the Sunshine Law and the requirements of the ORC 5573.10 on the 24th and 31st of July of this year in the Northwest Community Press to the property owners within the project limits. The Glen Forest Road Improvement Project involves the replacement of all the curb, the replacement of the catch basins, removal of existing asphalt, and pavement resurfacing with 2.5 inches of new blacktop. This would be the 15th project of this type in the township regarding the assessment project moving forward in accordance with our 5-year infrastructure plan that we adopted back in 2016. There are two types of assessments outlined in our master plan. One is a voluntary, one is a mandatory. The voluntary assessment projects involve a petition that is circulated by the residents of that particular area. They then submit that petition to the township to have us move forward with that project. This one would be the mandatory assessment project, which in our policy, as outlined, indicates that if there's a SCIP grant involved, we do the mandatory assessment process. As part of that, a public meeting was held with residents of this neighborhood on August 6th of 2018. And all the residents at that meeting indicated they were in favor of the assessment and the project moving forward. There are a total of 63 parcels on the 2 streets representing the property owners to be assessed for the project. The assessment to each property owner for the project will be $33.67 per year for 10 years, apportioned and paid equally by the property owners abutting the road improvement as established in ORC 5573.07, Section A1. That amount represents about 1.5 mil equivalency based on the average property value of the homes in that area. And the township, while we upfront the money in the beginning, this assessment amount is repaid over the 10 years to cover a portion of the cost of the road project. All township resurfacing projects since our policy in 2016 was created in the neighborhood master plan to date and going forward will involve an assessment of some amount to share in the cost of the resurfacing projects. On August 8th, 2018, the Board of Trustees passed Resolution 67-2018, which determined the necessity for the road improvement. This is essentially allowing us to go ahead with the project. Plans and specifications and a schedule of assessments were prepared, and then they were then reviewed and approved by the county engineer as required by the Ohio Revised Code. Again, as mentioned, notice was given on the 24th and 31st of July of 2019 to allow property owners to, and the revised code actually requires them to make objections in writing. As of tonight, we haven't received any objections in writing or verbally as a result of the assessment for this project. Again, the purpose is to consider objections to the scheduled assessments. The board can change the assessment schedule if necessary. This particular hearing isn't to determine whether or not the project should move forward. However, it is to determine whether or not the assessments were just and equitable. Bid opening was December 11th, 2018, and it was awarded from the board to Pruce Construction on December, the same evening of 18, December 11th of 18. The next step, which will take place tonight at our regular meeting, which will be a resolution to adopt the estimates and specifications reported by the county engineer for said improvements, and those be forwarded to the county auditor for assessments to be placed on the property owners as described. That concludes my report, unless there are any questions on the board.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Is there anyone here in the audience tonight that would like to make any comments regarding this equalization hearing on the Glen Forest Road Improvement Project? We'll let the record reflect that there is no one wishing to make comments, and we will take this matter under advisement and consider it in a resolution that will be coming up later in our regular meeting. Any other comments, Mr. Burning?
No, thank you.
Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Means
Meeting's adjourned. We will start.